Well, now we're going to simplify a trigonometric expression using trigonometric identities. Shall we see what we have to work with here? So here we've got the tangent squared of theta, and then in parentheses, the cotangent squared of theta minus the cosine squared of theta. We're trying to simplify this thing. Well, you might recognize that I have two quotient identities here. I got the tangent squared of theta, and we're going to distribute, by the way. We're going to distribute this tangent squared of theta to the cotangent squared of theta, and then to the minus cosine squared of theta. But with the tangent squared of theta and the cotangent squared of theta, just looking at that portion for right now, I've got two quotient identities. And that's because the tangent is the sine squared of theta over the cosine squared of theta. And the cotangent squared of theta, is equal to, by quotient identity, the cosine squared of theta over the sine squared of theta. And so looky here. These, if I use cross multiplication, are going to cancel all out, and it's just going to equal 1. Now, let's look at this. Again, I'm going to use that quotient identity for the tangent squared of theta, which is the sine squared of theta over the cosine squared of theta. And we're multiplying that times the cosine squared of theta. And so these are going to cancel out. And so what are we left with here? Well, then we're left with 1 minus the sine squared of theta. Well, you might recognize that the Pythagorean identity said that the cosine squared of theta plus the sine squared of theta equals 1, Pythagorean identity. And you know what? If I subtract the sine squared of theta to this, I'm left with that the cosine squared is equal to, I should put theta in there, cosine squared of theta is equal to 1 minus the sine squared of theta. And look what I have here. 1 minus the sine squared of theta. Well, shazam. We simplified this expression. The cotangent squared of theta times, in parentheses, the cotangent squared of theta minus the cosine squared of theta. We have simplified that to, are you ready? Drum roll, drum roll. The cosine squared of theta. Shazam.